I sometimes feel more comfortable projecting who I want to be rather than who I am. Sorry, that just got really emotional. Hello, my name is Jasmine Boular, and I am the facilitator for Two Moons Rising.
I love it. This is making sense to me.
When my mom went to India for her sister's wedding, she met a young gentleman that she took a shine to, and that gentleman is my father. When they got married, my dad came to America, and yeah, that's how I was born in California, of all places. Growing up in a small town, I was the only Indian person in my school. I think my dad's big fear was that I would grow up not being proud of who I was. And so he resolved to kind of move us back. And I was terrified, but ultimately I think it was probably one of the greatest decisions he ever made.
Make a hope roll. Yeah, this is gonna be kind of difficult. It's gonna be 6-up.
The system for college selection in India is very different than it is in America, and it's very competitive. And in a lot of ways, Life is Strange did remind me of it, because one of the things that people don't realize is like student depression and student suicide in India is actually quite high. And it's because we have so much pressure. In 10th grade, you take an examination called the Central Board of Secondary Education exam. If you do not get over a certain percentage, you do not qualify to be in medical or non-medical. So you can be locked out of what might be your dream career in 10th grade. So really our college, in my opinion, starts in 11th and 12th grade. And from there, you spend those 2 years studying for the test that determines whether or not you can qualify for med school. I think that's the themes in Life is Strange that actually did feel very relatable to me, this insane pressure that you feel. You don't feel like you're keeping up. I'm in the process of taking all of these examinations, and I'm seeing students that are a lot brighter than me. I started to put together that, like, this wasn't for me. The things I was passionate about were starting to fall over by the wayside, and I kind of realized I was struggling mentally. And so I decided to come to America because I was like, I kind of miss, talking about literature. I kind of miss talking about all of these other things. I feel like that's how you discover who you are and what you're interested in. My parents were very supportive. They understood. So I came back on my own, and that was really tough. The admissions process was very confusing. I think they didn't really know what to do with someone like me who was an American citizen but had spent all this time abroad. A lot of your credits don't transfer, and like you need to have a year of a foreign language. And I'd be like, I know 3 languages. So then I had to take French. It was very frustrating. They just didn't know what to do with me. So I started going to a little Washington State community college called Clark College, and I loved it. The first couple of months there were interesting. I think I definitely struggled a little bit. Even in their attempts to be like very open or welcoming, people tended to be really judgmental. If I was really good at something, people would be just like, Indians are good at math. And even like there was some bitterness. I so clearly remember this woman in front of me standing up and saying, well, because of people like her, I got laid off from my job. I even got a lot of like, why are you here? I think if anything that kind of made me probably really fighty, I started to find my voice. I went from being kind of the quietest person in class to realizing if I didn't advocate for myself and advocate for other people, it just wasn't gonna happen. And so I got louder and louder and louder and started finding out ways to like get involved.
Hey everybody, welcome to Crossroads. I want you to think of me not as your hike leader and your safety supervisor, but as your guide.
At a community college, you have people that are older, you have people that are completing their GED, and I feel like they don't get the same sort of support and socializing tools that you get at a 4-year university. So I started to get involved in student government and Model United Nations. And I realized like how many facilities and programs there were on campus that people just didn't know about. That, you could get a subsidized bus pass, that there were like all of these things that could help basically broke college students that they didn't even know existed. So I started walking around the campus in this mascot suit to try to bring attention to any event. I would like prepare like flyers and walk around near the fountain area in a penguin suit. And one of my friends would have a boombox, and sometimes I had like little dance routines. And this kind of worked because people always wanted to like take a picture with me or like do a little dance routine with me. As far as why the penguin suit, I think it was because I got to, it's kind of why I play TTRPGs. I sometimes feel more comfortable projecting who I want to be rather than who I am. Sorry, that just got really emotional. I didn't really expect that answer from myself, if I'm being honest. I don't know, that got unexpected. I didn't know the answer until I said it, you know? I think that larger-than-life character was always inside me, but it didn't match the perception that everyone had of me, and it was just so easier to be a character than it was to be myself, because I feel like when I'm myself, then the target's on me. But sometimes I can say something that I want to say or even challenge people more comfortably if I'm not myself, if that makes sense.
Well, bad things sometimes happen to bad people.
So you think I'm a bad person?
You're all covering for each other. That one out there won't even talk to us. And you want to come in here with this sob story about a kid that apparently none of you cared about?
There's a layer of separation. And I think the mascot suit helped me realize, like, I felt comfortable with that layer of separation.
Thank you.
I realized, like, everything that I discovered and loved during college, I make my living doing now. Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, all of those things got to inform what made me happy in life and how I could make other people happy in life. And I realized that that's really all I ever wanted to do as a medical professional. I get it.
Ow, felt that through my bones.
There's some days I'm like, you could be doing so much more if you had continued down that path. But every single time I meet someone that says, I see myself in your stories, or you said this thing on your stream, or you did this thing on your stream, and I related, I feel validated. And I feel like that's its kind of own reward. Maybe it's not saving lives, but maybe it is.
What a nice turn of events. Ooh. So this is like an insane success, right?
This is a breakthrough.
I'm Jasmine Bhullar, and please do check out the rest of the stories of the wonderful cast of Life is Strange: Double Exposure.
On the eve of a blood moon, a true crime podcast comes to life. When a youth group outing is interrupted by murder, four friends
I got a flu.
Search for the killer.
Same handwriting.
And discover the truth is hidden among them.
Who can we trust? What was that gunshot?
A bad thing happened to all of us. Oh my God.
Tune in for the thrilling actual play of Two Moons Rising, premiering October 23rd. And experience Max Caulfield's return in Life is Strange: Double Exposure, coming October 29th.